welcome back to Cotto Verde. My name's Annette, and if you're new to my channel, I garden here in an English country garden in South Buckinghamshire, which is equivalent to a zone 8A. Today we've got a couple of garden jobs that I'd like to get done. The first one is that we need to help to straighten an Italian cypress tree. So we planted a pair of Italian cypress trees on either side of a weeping cherry earlier on this year, and one of them is leaning, it's kind of doing this. So we need to straighten it, and because it's a cypress tree, there isn't really anywhere we can kind of tie it in without it showing. It's a very young cypress tree, and so I don't really want to strap it in any way. So I feel like now that it's autumn, we need to dig it up and plant it so that it's upright. So it's been in less than one season, and actually if you're going to plant anything, autumn is a really good time to do it. When plants are beginning to become dormant, they're not growing as much, and they can focus on their roots. So I'm going to dig it up, or because I'm going to get Richard's help, we're going to dig it up today, straighten it and replant it. I'm not sure why it's leaning. It's possibly leaning because we didn't heel it in well enough or didn't plant it straight enough, and it's just kind of blown a bit in the wind, but actually the wind blows from a different direction, so I'm not sure why it's leaning. I really don't know why that one's decided to lean a bit. Anyway, so we're going to do that, and then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear up the Cobaeus scandens, or cup and saucer vine, that I had growing around my rose arch this year. It did really well, but actually what's happened in all the wind and the rain is it's just kind of flopped and it's making a mess, and I think this is a really good time for me to tie in or train some of those branches from the rose. So that's the other thing we're going to do. I'm going to tie in the roses onto the rose arbor or pergola or arch or whatever you want to call it, in preparation for next year. So we're here at the bottom of the garden, and I'm kind of standing in between the two Italian cypress. You can see how slender they are at the moment, and they're not particularly tall. They're probably, actually they're a bit taller than me. They may be 8 foot tall, but they're very slender. And is it possible to see? So this one here is really on a tilt, and we need to straighten it before it goes too far. So we're going to dig it up, straighten it, plant it back down again, and make sure it's upright and healed in really well, and then we're going to mulch it. So the other thing that I'm going to do today is I'm going to prune this weeping cherry, because it's literally all over the ground, and even though it's not dormant, I did read in my Gardener's World magazine that I can prune cherries, I can prune fruit trees at the moment. So what I'm going to do is cut it so that the branches, because they're super long, aren't all over the ground. And I'm literally going to have to be really brave to do this. So if this is a mistake and anybody knows any better what I should be doing with my weeping cherry tree, then please let me know. Because I am new to weeping cherry trees, but I really don't want it all over the ground. So I've literally just lopped the end off, and the reason that I did it there is because this is where it seems to be branching the most, and then there is one branch here. Ideally, what I'd prefer is I prefer it to be branching and making more branches up at the top here, but I don't know whether I can cut into that really thicker stem up there. I mean, that's much thicker than a pencil. So if anyone has any experience with weeping cherry trees and how to prune them so that they make the nice mound at the top rather than at the bottom, could you let me know in the description below, or DM me on Instagram or something, because I really don't know how to create the bushy bit at the top, and for some reason this particular branch has just got really, really long. I probably won't do any more at this time of year, and I'll wait till the spring anyway. Actually, I don't know whether I should do that, because I want the blossom in the spring. That's the whole point. So yeah, answers on a postcard, please. Somebody let me know what to do with my weeping cherry. I have tried to Google it and look online to see what to do, but I haven't found any really solid answers yet. So any tree experts out there, somebody let me know what I should be doing to get this cherry to be bushier at the top here, rather than down at the bottom. So we're digging really wide around it so that any roots that have taken hold this year and spread out this year, hopefully we're not chopping them off. We're just going to be able to avoid damaging any new roots. Oh, No, a bit more around this side, unless it's just really heavy. At least we know it rooted in well, just rooted in on a slope. Oh, that's too heavy for me. Perfect. So whilst we're at it, we've actually decided that the second tree over here is leaning this way a little bit, and this is really annoying because with Italian cypress you really do want them to be as upright as possible, and also for some reason it's like half a foot maybe in the wrong direction, so we're going to move it back half a foot. I know from this angle it looks like it needs to go back half a foot so that it's more in line. I don't know what's happened. We measured everything. Richard thinks maybe the wall moved. I think the wall moved. That's probably what's happened. It's so old, it's just leaning over. Anyway, whatever, we're going to move this one back slightly. Whilst we're doing this, we might as well get them as perfect as possible whilst they're young, and then whatever happens as they get older, we won't move them again. We're just going to have to figure something out. So the Cabert scandens is all down here. So it's fallen down in the weather that we've had, the storms. We've had 2 storms. So the wind and the rain has pushed it down. It should be all the way up here. But it's also because I was away for maybe 6 weeks of gardening, so I haven't tied them in. But I wanted to show you what the seed heads look like. So I don't have any flowers to show you at the moment, but the seed heads are actually really pretty. And so those look quite good in autumnal flower arrangements if you want to cut them and bring them inside. But also they set seed. So inside this seed pod are all the seeds. So this will turn into this, and then the seeds are all inside. I'm not going to open it because I want it to dry out a bit, but the seeds are in there, and then you can collect your own seeds, and that'll save money next year when you want to sow some more. And that's what I'm going to do. Having said that I didn't have any flowers to show you, I actually do have a flower. So this is what the cup and saucer vine looks like. This is the Alba. So I did actually sow some purple ones this year, but I didn't plant them. I only planted the white ones. So I'm going to get to work now, just ripping all of these out. It should be fairly easy to just take them off. I'll probably have to cut the garden twine where I tied it in, but I'm just going to rip them all out and expose the roses, and then hopefully tie those in to the arbor. If you've seen any of my previous climbing rose videos about how to train your roses so that they produce more flowers, you will know that it's important to train your roses to run in a horizontal fashion, because that way each of the little buds along the stem will produce a new shoot which would produce flowers, rather than just going vertically. If you train your climbing roses vertically, then what happens is all the flowers will be at the top and you won't have anything at the bottom. So for instance, this stem here is just going straight up, and it's still quite flexible because it's quite young. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it in so that it's running at an angle. I mean, you don't want to snap the stem off, so don't pull it too tight. But I really want it to sort of wrap its way around here. So I'm going to tie it in onto this pole here. And it's always important to do a figure of 8 so that the rose isn't rubbing against, the stem isn't rubbing against anything. So we do a figure of 8. So I'm just tying it in loosely. I'm not yanking it so that it's super tight or anything. And then I'm going to wrap it around here so that next year it grows this way. So again, I'm doing a figure of 8, and I'm just going to tie a bow, or not, doesn't matter, but I'm not going to tie it too tightly. So I've got another really big branch here, and I'm just going to bring it round the other side of the arch. So I've got one coming around this side, and then I'm going to have this one going around the other side. And this one I'm going to tie in a little bit lower, just because I can. So again, let me put that on the ground. I'm making a figure of 8, and then I'm not going to tie it, you know, extremely tightly. Just going to tie it quite loosely, mostly because over the years, well, actually this string will wear out before then, but you know, the stems are going to get much thicker over the years. And then with this bit, I'm going to bring it round this side, and in order to tie it horizontally, or more horizontally, I'm again going to make a figure of 8 and bring it round, but I'm going to tie it loosely to the bottom rung, and that way it will be trained in a more horizontal manner. So not only am I tying it to the bottom, but to keep it in place and stop it flapping around in the wind during the winter, I'm going to tie it over here to this bit too. So again, over on this side, I've got this really long branch here, and it's growing on that side, and I'm just going to wind it gently around the post because it's still flexible, and then I'm going to tie it in. I'm just going to get on now and do the other side of the rose arch, and the 2 roses that are on that side, I'm going to pull out the cup and saucer vine that's on there too, and then just tie in the roses. So now that I've done this side of the rose arbor, it is slightly more shaded than the other side, but I really don't think that that should make a significant difference because it does get full sun for most of the day. But what happened over here was I let the cup and saucer vine take over a little bit. I mean, I did on both sides, but it seems to have really hampered the growth of the 2 climbing roses over here, and there weren't really any long stems that I needed to tie in at all. They have grown, they've grown beautifully and they flowered beautifully, but they just haven't grown any long stems. So I think I've learned a lesson there in that I probably shouldn't fiddle around and plant any annual climbers or anything else whilst I'm trying to get the roses to grow and form a beautiful canopy on this arch. So next year I will make sure that there isn't anything swamping the roses or anything near the roses, because there were also a lot of self-seeded things that I've had to pull out, and obviously a few weeds, but I've just kind of let everything grow this year, and I probably shouldn't have done that. I should have given the roses some space. I don't think they've come to any actual harm, I just think it stunted the growth. So you can see the 2 Italian cypresses that we straightened today, and I've cleared the area around the roses on the rose arbor, and that's about it for today. Anyway, really hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. I don't know whether any of you have got the same problems that we've got, but hopefully you've enjoyed the video. It's been entertaining. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. I forgot to press record. It's just started raining. Take my gloves off because they're in the way, and actually I'm warm enough now.